everyone. My name is Brianna McTagg. I'm the Public Relations Manager of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. I'm going to share my screen with you. So again, my name is Brianna. I'm the Public Relations Manager of Campus Communications for TCS. I'm joined by Tyler Matherin. He's one of our campus recruiters, and you can see him on video there too. And then we have our panelists. We have Gigi Wood from TCS. She's here. And then we have Peter Mignacca. He's also there. And we have Alexandria Reynolds. She's also here too. Unfortunately, her camera is not working right now. But she is there too, and we thank them so much. They'll be speaking to you a little bit later about their experience at TCS thus far, how they found the company, what exciting things they have been doing. So you'll meet them in a little bit in our panel. I'm going to get started just a little bit about TCS, and thank you again for joining us, and talk a little bit more about how you can amplify your impact and what you do with TCS. I know many of you are graduating or have graduated recently, so we congratulate you on this amazing achievement, especially with everything else going on. And also congratulate you on taking this huge step in trying to figure out what you're going to do with your career and this new step in your career development journey. So just a little bit about Tyler and myself, with some really funny headshots of us on the screen. Like I said, I already stated my position, but I graduated from Montclair State University probably when you all were very young, with my bachelor's in communication studies, public relations, and then also for my master's, went to Montclair State University and received my Master of Arts in Teaching in Elementary Education, K-6. And Tyler, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tyler Matherin, part of the campus recruitment team for TCS. So not just involved in the recruitment, but also the engagement part as well. So, that's part of the reason why I'm here tonight, to connect with you all. My background is same as far as school. I'm graduated from Rutgers. So anyone who's a Rutgers alum, if you're in the chat, just give a thumbs up. So I graduated in 2017 and then graduated with my master's in 2018. So I see all the alums coming in now. So I know I already connected with some of you through LinkedIn, connected with you through WayUp. Thank you all who are currently in the application process, who applied for our software engineering roles. So I would love to discuss that with you later on in this presentation. So thank you all again for joining.
Thanks so much, Tyler. I see there are a lot of Rutgers alumni in the chat. Everyone's cheering. Welcome, Rutgers. It's actually the last place I worked before TCS, so Rutgers is everywhere. Congratulations. Oh, I see a lot of people in the chat. That's so cool. Okay, so again, my name is Brianna. I'm the PR manager of campus communications, and Tyler is a campus recruiter lead with our talent acquisition team. So I'm going to let Tyler take over and tell you a little bit more about TCS, what we do as a company, and what you can look forward to if you join TCS yourself. So Tyler, you want to take it over from here?
Yeah, sure. I don't think my slides will be as much exciting as yours, Bree, but I'm hoping that everyone will learn something a little bit and be excited about more about the roles that's currently active right now in which we're looking for. So thank you everyone again. So for those who just recently joined before we began, my name is Tyler, part of the campus team for TCS. So TCS, we are an IT services and business solutions company. Brianna, if you want to show the slides, that'd be helpful. So we're a global leader in technology, focused more in consulting, IT services, and business solutions. So these are the main three areas in which we provide to many clients across multiple industries. And again, for overview, we are an IT company, but we also do provide focused consulting and also business solutions. So sorry, can you just go back?
Yep.
Yep. The previous slides. So our purpose. So what is our purpose for TCS? So we want to empower our customers through holistic and innovative consulting, partnered with cutting edge IT solutions. So we do have many clients in which we work in Fortune 500 companies. So when you think about these clients and you think about the industries in which we work in, some of the most notable ones is banking and financial solutions, retail, high tech, manufacturing. And then we also service in specific areas as well, such as the cloud. We focus in more cybersecurity and other areas that are considered our niche technologies. So Brianna, do you want to go to the next slide?
Yep.
So this is an overview about TCS, unity and diversity, more on a global scale for anyone who's interested in knowing, how we are on a global scale, not just on a national scale. So as far as our manpower, we have close to 500,000 employees worldwide. We have about 900 plus clients in 46 countries, 187 solution centers globally. And TCS is the most valuable global IT services brand with 170 billion market cap. And as far as our diverse nationalities, we have about 147. And the most notable one, which always gets a lot of highlights when we do these presentations, that we have over 165,000 plus women, which TCS is the largest private sector of women. So, that should be a great notable point that we want to mention as far as our diversity. Next slide, please. So more on the career opportunities. Now that you know a brief about TCS, I'm pretty sure a lot of the students who have joined our call today in our session already have been applying for our roles, and I do want to thank you for that. We did have a great outreach this semester where we reached out to, connected with many schools. My colleague Teresa and I have been, connecting with a lot of students, and thanks to Brianna, you probably saw a lot of postings on LinkedIn, what we have done on Way Up, Handshake. Thanks to her, we're able to get our opportunities out to students. So thank you for all those who have applied and want to know a little bit about each of our roles and how you can amplify your impact working for us. So let's go into the roles for time. So our most active and notable role right now that you'll see if you apply if you're a candidate, a student or a candidate who came through our Way Up platform, or if you have been looking through opportunities through LinkedIn or on Handshake, if you're currently in school and use that as a platform, is our software engineering role. So this is the main role in which we hire for. So we're looking for candidates who have technical backgrounds in Java, .NET, Angular, and Node.js. And part of those technology skill sets is that when you do join us after completing our notable ILP initial learning program, is that you'll be mapped to one of the top tech stacks where you'll be going through the formal training. So anything from Java full stack, .NET full stack training, cloud, or DevOps would be the major training tech stacks you'd go into. And as far as our eligibility criteria, it's a very stringent criteria because we're looking for candidates and students who come from university, who recently graduated and have those major degrees that will be applied for when they start working. So as far as from a degree perspective, we're looking for anyone in computer science, electrical engineering, information technology, information systems, informatics and software engineer, anything in the programming sense is pretty much what the eligibility criteria would be. We have a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 and above, and just basic knowledge of computer science concepts, programming, and information systems. So we're not looking for candidates to have hands-on experience. We don't expect you to have years of job experience or internship experience. We're mainly looking to see if you have the conceptual knowledge to be able to apply it in real work experiences. And once you join many of these industries I mentioned earlier, where you're going to be providing that daily IT business solutions, having those skill sets will, having the conceptual knowledge and understanding of how to use them will be helpful for the roles. And again, all these roles are active on all the major platforms that I have mentioned. At the end, I will also include my email, but I would only ask that you share your details and resumes if you're interested, if you meet the criteria from an eligibility criteria standpoint, which I'm going to go into further. So our second role is our engineering role. Currently, right now, our engineering and data analyst roles are, we will expect to see requirements and requisitions come in the next 2 months or so for these roles. So it's a little bit different from the tech stack. So as an engineer, we are requiring you to have MATLAB, SolidWorks, C programming as the main technical skill sets. And from a degree perspective, anyone with mainly electrical, mechanical, and energy engineering. And again, cumulative GPAs of 3.0 and above, knowledge of basic computer science and concepts, and interest in to relocate and travel, as I'm going to mention in future slides, is going to be very important. Lastly, is our data analyst roles. So part of the training program, you'll be mapped into 3 streams. So if you're more of a Python, background, R, you'd be mapped more in a data science training tech stack. If you're someone with a Python, Tableau background, you can be put in maybe a data visualization, more of a BI developer role. And lastly, any candidates that have SQL background, big data, cloud, AWS, would be mapped more into data engineering. Now, the degree requirements is different compared to the engineering, software engineering roles. We're looking for anyone with data science, data analytics, mathematics, and statistics degree backgrounds. And maintain a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 and above, must be willing and open to relocate. So I do want to mention for all these 3 roles, you do need to have valid and ongoing work authorization. I see a lot of those questions are coming in the chat as we speak. So you must have valid and ongoing work authorization. So, as far as Kent were asking whether TCS hires OPT, yes, we have done it in the past. But for the time being now, all OPT hiring is on hold, and we expect that to change in the next 2 months or so, now that we're seeing more candidates that will be graduating and will be open for more of the summer hiring. We will explore the OPT hiring, but as of now, OPT hiring is all on hold. So once you meet the other eligibility criteria, you will be good. So I see in the chat, some students are, providing some information. Just make sure you keep everything confidential, just for your own sake. And if you have any further questions, our FAQ will be able to answer any specific role. So overall, our 3 roles, you must have valid work authorization, must have a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 and above. So if you are, in the cusp of graduation now, try to get that GPA up as much as you can. Must be willing to relocate and travel. Next slide, please.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
And now going into the fun part, the hubs, which always gets a lot of candidates confused when applying for jobs. So for TCS, we reside in 6 major hubs, one of them being our Edison, New Jersey, where Brian and I, Therese, all will be residing and working in. And we also have other hubs, our Dallas, Texas hub, Naperville, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Atlanta, Georgia, and Santa Clara, California. And essentially, when we do consider you for a role, we will ask you, are you open to relocate to any one of these hubs? And these hubs will include these specific locations. So part of the Edison hub, if you are open to work in that hub, you'd essentially be open to working in not just New Jersey, but New York, Delaware, Maryland, PA, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Virginia, New Hampshire, DC. These are the main areas where we at least ask for you to be open to relocate to. Now, I understand you're not going to pick all 10, but at least 3 or 4 will be helpful for us to be able to map you to a project, because again, you'll be providing IT, business solutions, and consulting to your clients, and those clients will reside in many of these locations where you'll be working in. So I hope that provided any clarity, but for example, if you're currently located in Jersey again, or let's use a different one, if you're currently located in Georgia, we want you to not just be open to anywhere in Georgia, but also consider Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee location. So again, in addition to these eligibility criteria, the relocation and travel is very important, because all roles won't just reside where you currently live. So do keep that in mind. Yes, we are working on from a virtual standpoint as of now, but eventually, once everything reside, relocation and travel will be expected.
Thank you so much, Tyler, for elaborating on the positions and telling everyone more about TCS. I appreciate it. I hope everyone learned a lot from what Tyler said. He explained it very, very well. All the qualifications are listed in that slide. And also on our website, you must meet all the qualifications in order to apply. If you have applied and haven't heard back, it could just be that we do receive a lot of applications, but it also could be maybe you don't need one of those applications. So just make sure you meet all those qualifications prior to application. So now I'm just going to introduce our alumni panel. I know that we're running a little bit behind with time, but that's okay. I'm really excited to have all three of them with us. So our alumni panelists are Peter Mignacca, who is a business analyst for TCS, and you can see him on camera. And we have Gigi Wood, there. Hi, Gigi. And Alexandria Reynolds. There she is. So Alexandria is here as well. She's a software engineer for TCS. So this is a little bit about each panelist. Peter is a business analyst. He graduated from Syracuse University last year. He has a Bachelor of Science in Supply Chain Management Entrepreneurship. He joined in December 2020, and I'll let him explain a little bit more about his role in a moment. We have Gigi, who's a copywriter for TCS. She graduated from DePaul University in 2020. Her Bachelor of Arts is in Public Relations and Advertising. She joined TCS in 2020, and she will also explain a little bit more about her role in a moment. And then we have Alexandria Reynolds. She's a software engineer. She graduated from the University of Washington, Tacoma in 2017 with her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, and she joined TCS in July 2017. So welcome and thank you to all three of our panelists. I'm just going to leave this screen up while I moderate and ask you guys some questions, but I'll let Peter start if you don't mind. Why don't you, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about your background and what you currently do for TCS in your role now?
Right. So my background was supply chain management and entrepreneurship, and I graduated from Syracuse University just about a year ago. If we have any Syracuse students on the call, light up the chat. I don't know if we do. It's way up there. Hey, there we go. That's awesome. So yeah, I studied supply chain and entrepreneurship in college, which gave me a solid business background. And that's why you see I'm a business analyst, and I'm not sure if that's something that our campus recruiting is currently looking for right now, but it's somewhat more of a non-technical role. And that's within the C&SI department, consulting and services integration. And that's kind of the consulting arm of TCS, where, I work alongside a lot of data engineers, a lot of people in the back end, and I kind of manage the client side of things, trying to understand different things that are part of the problem, which we are contracted to provide a solution for. So it's a lot of client communication and a lot of relaying back and forth with our engineers to give them a proper understanding of what they're going to be building and really how to maximize the value that they're going to add.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thanks for sharing a little bit about what you do, and we're going to get right back to you in a moment. I'm going to have Gigi just introduce herself and tell everyone a little bit about what you do as a copywriter for TCS.
Hi, I'm Gigi. So I'm a copywriter with TCS Interactive Life Sciences. So it's mostly dealing with TCS's healthcare clients, and we do a lot of like branding work, advertising, PR, all of that stuff. It's not even just limited to the United States. We've done work for clients in like Germany and Italy. It's been really interesting. So because my background is in advertising and public relations, and I've never worked in like the healthcare space before, and it's been really interesting getting to work on so many different projects with such a variety of clients. a lot of digital work, and even like internal branding stuff. So I just wrote a paper on behalf of TCS that's going to get published soon. And it's just been really, really cool.
Thank you so much, Gigi. And Alexandra, do you mind introducing yourself and a little bit about what you do?
So my name is Alexandria Reynolds. My official role at TCS is software engineer. I've been working here since 2017. Specifically, what I do is I work in the realm of accessibility. So I work with a large software-related client of TCS's. And so what I do in the day-to-day is for that client, we actually go through and we help to ensure that all of their products and applications and things are accessible to users with disabilities.
Very cool. Very cool. So as you can see from Peter, Gigi, and Alexandria's experiences, you can come into TCS thinking you'll be doing one type of work, but you really can end up doing a lot more in different realms and working on a lot of different projects. So I have another question for you guys. So Peter, I'll start with you again. We'll just go in the same cycle if you guys don't mind. Okay. So I would say, well, first, what made you end up choosing TCS? What intrigued you about TCS and made you want to join?
Right. That's a great question. I think that's probably what's the main topic on all of our participants' minds. So I think what brought me to TCS is probably twofold, and it's a combination of consulting and technology. So like I said, I studied supply chain management and entrepreneurship in college. And one thing I felt when I got my degree was that it wasn't very tech heavy. And that's something that you can see around us is technology is pervasive. It is everywhere. And it's taking over. Even the topics I studied, I dived a little bit into supply chain. We have or technology rather. We have different technologies that are found often in the supply chain realm. But my degree was mostly focused on the management aspect. Very math based, numbers focused. And so that's one thing I really wanted to get a stronger background in was the tech side of things. And furthermore, consulting was always an interesting field to me because you get a lot of exposure to different problem sets and different corporations. And so it allows you to get a network of professionals that's vast and across a lot of industries. And on top.
Oh, I think we might have lost Peter. Gigi, I'll let you touch on the same question while we're waiting for him to join us again. What made you choose TCS?
Yeah, sure. So I'd heard of TCS before. I was introduced to it in the interview process. But I actually, my boss, it's just kind of a wild story. My current boss, his wife went to high school with my former freelance client's wife. And so I just had that weird connection. And my former client / college professor, he reached out to me and was like, I feel like you would really fit in this role. And it seems kind of like you're the person they're looking for, because this is right when TCS Interactive Life Sciences, the US branch of it, was pretty brand new in 2019, right before the pandemic. And so a lot of their hiring they did during the pandemic. And so it's still very startup-y. And so, I never thought. I came from a larger agency. I was working at a pretty big advertising agency before here. And so I never thought that I would go, into a consulting IT tech kind of company. Never crossed my mind before, but I'm really glad that I ended up here through that weird route.
Very cool. See, you never know who you're going to meet, right? And Peter, we're back.
Yeah, I think the Wi-Fi dropped off or something. Not sure. I don't know when I dropped off, but.
You were just saying about why you chose TCS and that one of the really cool things about it, and then it went silent.
It was really just consulting combined with technology are two very rewarding fields that it's really an endless pool of knowledge that you can dive into. between the two of them. So there's a lot of great skills to learn, a lot of great problems to get your hands on here at TCS. And so that was a basic summary.
Thank you. And Alexandra, how about you? How did you find out about TCS, and what intrigued you about TCS to choose it?
So I actually found out about TCS through the career fairs that they actually attended. They were always present at both the spring and fall career fairs over at UWT. And so that actually kind of, I had the opportunity to speak with the individuals there, and they were able to explain like consulting and what that was. And it, for me, at least, what was the most interesting was the flexibility of the field as a whole, because I am most definitely the sort of person where if I'm stuck doing one thing for the rest of my life, I'm going to get bored. So having that opportunity to take on new challenges and learn new skill sets was something that was incredibly appealing to me, as well as the potential opportunity for travel and even living elsewhere for periods of time.
So it seems like all three of you have had the same experience of just that level of exposure to different fields, industries, projects that you otherwise may not have with a smaller company or a more targeted company. Would you say that's accurate?
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's really great to hear. I do have another question for you guys, and then because of time, I do want to be able to take a couple of questions before the end.
Right.
So the next question I have for you guys, so I would say most of the time they ask about what is your typical day, right? So that people can learn about it. I want to know, what did you do yesterday if you were working?
Right.
What did you do yesterday? Just to hear a little bit about what a random day at TCS might be like in a role such as yours.
Cool, I can start off. So I work in an agile environment, which is agile. If you're not familiar, it's pretty much a project management framework, especially used in software development. And so every day, the day kind of starts out with what we call daily sprint, which is where everyone kind of meets up from the project team and the clients involved. And we basically go through what tasks we're working on, what progress we've made. Is there anything that we are not able to, pursue based on, whether it's an access blocker or something, or is there questions we have that are getting in the way? And we kind of sit there and vet what's going on and see, where can we increase our collaborative efforts and really work through the problems that are presenting themselves in the day-to-day. And then from there, we kind of start working sessions. And sometimes there's a big group. Sometimes you'll go off for the day if you're working on something more autonomous. So for yesterday, I think part of the sprint plan or part of the daily sprint was going over with the client some things that we're looking for in a visualization piece that we were delivering. So they had spoken to their end users and gotten some really good feedback on things we could add to the product we were building for them that their consumers preferred to have. And so then it was our job to put it together and make sure that we were checking off all their asks. So I'm working on a visualization piece with Power BI. If any of you are familiar, it's a business intelligence tool. It's a really cool technology for bringing data in and trying to visualize some insights. So we made some adjustments to the Power BI product we're delivering. And then we pretty much will work all day. And like, for example, yesterday was just working. And at the end of the day, we'll meet up as one more time as a team and go over things. If there's anything we ran into, bring it up and have it vetted. If there's anything that's on the client's mind towards the end of the day, try and understand, what are their pain points? What are they thinking about the solutions we're providing and things like that. So that was basically similar to the day-to-day, but actually what I did yesterday.
Thank you for sharing. It's nice to hear that you're so collaborative with your team. How about you, Gigi? What did you do yesterday? And we have to keep all the responses like a minute, if that's okay with you.
Cool. Yeah. So what I did yesterday, not super glamorous, but a lot of times they need to have someone proofread all of the materials. And so we're working on a giant email campaign for one of our healthcare clients right now. And every time we go through revisions, they need to have me proofread all of the edits. And so I have to go through just all of these very dense healthcare emails and, do my research on whatever, type of disease we're working on, and make sure everything's, no typos, everything's laid out correctly. That's kind of mostly what I did yesterday. I also worked on my internal white paper, internal branding type article a little bit, inputting graphics, working with our art directors. Just very collaborative all around.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And Alexandra, how about you? What did you do yesterday?
I have a terrible short-term memory, so you actually made me have to go look at my calendar to remind myself. So yesterday I actually had triages, I had onboardings, triages being where I talk with customer teams about any accessibility bugs that they've received and about next steps for them in dealing with those and mitigating those issues. And then I had a whole bunch of onboardings, those being wherever we get a whole bunch of teams from the customer and bring them on as new things for testing for accessibility, and where we explain all of the processes that we do with them. I also went through, and I believe I had a few incidents yesterday of customer teams reaching out to me with questions about accessibility issues that they've received. And so I was trying to work through those with them, help troubleshoot and see if I can't help them come up with a solution. That's about what I was doing yesterday.
Thank you so much. It's interesting to hear everyone's days are so different, even though we're all at the same company. So it's nice to hear a little bit about what each of you do, even for myself to learn a little bit more about what TCS does. We only have a couple minutes left, so I do have to close out, but I do want to ask, I'm so grateful for all three of you to be here. And before I ask you the last question, I'm just going to flip to the last slide so that the participants can see. I saw that a lot of you submitted FAQs beforehand, and since we don't have a lot of time for a Q&A, if you scan this QR code with your cell phone, just open up the camera, a Q&A PDF will pop up, and your questions are actually answered there. So we prepped it in advance, and you can have it and take it so you have the answers to your questions. But before we say goodbye to our panelists, two things. Well, one, thank you all again for your time and participating in this. It means a lot to us at TCS and also all of our candidates to get some insight into the company that they're thinking of joining. And my last question is just, since COVID, obviously we know we're all virtually, and I know a couple of you have onboarded virtually. How would you say, working from home, do you feel like it's changed your role, or how do you feel about all of that?
Yeah,
and any tips or advice, I would say that's what I wanted to get to. Sorry.
Right.
I mean,
right.
A lot of you started virtually, the same as our candidates will, or ended up. What are some advice that you have from working from home and joining, things like that?
So if I may, actually, one of the greatest things in purposes of my scope of work, if anything, I would say accessibility has become even more important with things shifting to an online workspace, because individuals need to be able to access the tools that they use to be able to do their jobs more than ever. But in terms of tips for working from home, I would say the biggest thing that I've discovered is set up an official workspace. If you have an official thing that you do where even if it's just you turn on one particular lamp during the times that you're working and you turn it off when you're done, being able to do something small like that to put yourself in work mode is huge.
No, that's really helpful. Absolutely. Establishing some kind of routine to keep that boundary between work and home is crucial. Thank you, Andrew. That's really helpful. And Peter, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've been onboarded remotely, and that's one of the things that's really strange, as I have never personally met the people who I work with every day, and some of the ILP fellows that I'm in with. We have a chance to socialize here and there, but it's always through Teams, and so I would say in person, there's probably a lot more opportunity to socialize and meet and feel more connected to the organization. So if I gave you one tip, if you do join TCS or any organization where you're starting remotely, it would be that you have to put in a little extra effort to feel closer to your team, closer to people who might be in the same shoes as you. Don't feel afraid, or don't scare yourself from reaching out. I think that's when I joined, I was kind of waiting for people to reach out to me and say, I think it's more common that you are expected to, when you're working in an office, everything's around you, and at home it's like it's easy to leave your camera off and stay quiet. So I would say if you're the type of person that's more introverted, don't worry. I think it's gonna come naturally to just reach out to people if you're in need of a connection.
No, I mean, that makes complete sense. You're absolutely right. I mean, my team and I started a separate meeting every week just to have a place and time to go, right? So now that we know,
right,
we can rely on Thursdays at that time to have some time to talk about work if we need to, but also time to just talk about life for a few minutes. So
right.
That's a great tip. Thank you, Peter. And Gigi, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I started in August. I haven't met any of my coworkers yet. It feels like I've been here forever, but I think one of the things that's been very helpful for me is just having like group chats or like text messages with my coworkers, because like we have Teams and everything, and we can message while we're online, but it's nice to have like a bit of like an outside of work relationship or like from like my art directors, we follow each other on Instagram and like just comment on each other's stories. It feels a lot more like having work friends that way rather than like just people I see their little name in a bubble every day. So just taking that extra step to be social.
Yeah, and to not be afraid to ask for help, or if you don't know something, or reach out, introduce yourself. People won't, when you join, I also onboarded TCS remotely in a different way. But I mean, it's just, saying, hi, this is who I am. I'm new. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do, just to kind of explore and see what people do and their roles, so you have references when you need them, and just to chat, whether it be about work or Netflix, whatever it might be. But thank you so much to our panelists. This has been so helpful and insightful. Peter, Alexandra, and Gigi, again, thank you. We really appreciate your time and your insight and everything you've had to say. So, and I see in the chat box, you can see everyone saying, thank you, wonderful advice. So thank you so much for being here. And, Gigi, Peter, and Alexandra, once you get, into TCS, we have an engagement program once we're in, and you're going to meet some other new people that joined TCS not too long ago. And so you might see Gigi, Peter, and Alexandria again. We don't know. So thank you again for your time. And yeah, Tyler, do you have any closing comments?
Sure. Just a few things for candidates who will be applying and will eventually go through the technical, managerial, and HR interview process. Do make sure that you send those resumes in time. If you applied through the layup process, please continue to do so, that their sourcing team will connect with you. If you haven't made any connects through any job postings, and we will be the best direct contact. So I already have shared my emails in the chat box. So I already see I saw 20 emails coming in. So I'd love to connect with you guys tomorrow. But thank you again. I hope it was very informative, but also fun. And just for future site, if you are someone who went through the process and eventually get an offer from us, please make sure you join that post-offer engagement session. That's going to be our next live event where we're going to be discussing with students. It's going to be a mix of formal and
Peter.
It's going to be you're going to see Peter again. And hopefully I will be Therese and I will be your recruiters and for the role, and we would love to connect with you. So again, anyone who's 2020 grad, 2021 grad can apply. So if you're someone graduating in May, you can still apply for the software engineering full-time opportunity. Just make sure that you meet the LG criteria as I mentioned, and we can proceed forward, or else it will be a little bit challenging, to go back and forth. But all the details are going to be provided. I'm going to get right to it, and hope to connect with you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you again, everyone. Please feel free to follow us on social media. We look forward to meeting all of you. Scan the QR code for your FAQ document. And thank you again to our panelists for participating. Hope you have an amazing rest of the week and weekend. And again, so grateful for your time and your insights. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.